Welcome to Sacred Tea. I'm Phil, and I'm here to share what I've learned, what I'm still learning, and what I'm leaving behind for my son and anyone else the universe decides to send this way. So if you want to create a dream life, manifest with purpose, heal genuinely, or simply live a life that feels really good, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. So over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about, prayer and how to manifest a dream, that life that you're looking to manifest. And we briefly spent a little bit of time on the emotional guidance scale. And I just wanted to spend a tad more time on the emotional guidance scale and talk about, what that entails, what that looks like, and getting more into it. So we talk about, the list. So I decided to put the list up on the screen so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So at the top of the list, we talked about, if you're at a 1, you are the closest, most in line with God, source, energy, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And then if you're at the bottom, 22, then you're the most separated from God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it. So again, number 1, joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation. 2, passion. 3, enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness. 4, positive expectation, belief. 5, optimism. 6, hopefulness. 7, contentment. 8, boredom. 9, pessimism. 10, frustration, irritation, impatience. 11, overwhelm or overwhelmment. 12, disappointment. 13, doubt. 14, worry. 15, blame. 16, discouragement. 17, anger. 18, revenge. 19, hatred, rage. 20, jealousy. 21, insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. And then 22, fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness. Now, what I've noticed is that, as we were growing up, we only really learn about a few different types of emotions, okay? And we're not given this whole list so we can understand just how far or how close we are to God. So basically, in grade school, you would learn, just the very basic of emotions, such as happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, surprise, disgusted, angry. Those were the ones that you've learned, right? So we understand, happiness, we're feeling, joyous, sadness, we're feeling like disappointment or, disappointment or whatnot. Fear, which is, at the very bottom of the emotional scale, which is, powerlessness and so on. Anger, which we already seen on the scale, which is 17. Surprise, depending on, if it's positive or negative, could be optimism or, optimism. Or if, negative could be, frustration and so on, right? And then, disgust could be, 19, hatred, So based on just those few, right, we don't really have a good understanding of where we stand emotionally. We just don't know. We don't necessarily have the words to describe or even understand the emotion that we're currently feeling to help us figure out where we are on the scale. So, how do we go about this? Basically, we're going to take a step back. Pause, breathe, collect yourself. A couple of good breaths or whatever, so you can regulate your nervous system, so you can understand, what am I going through? A lot of times your mind hasn't processed it yet, but your body knows. You know how you're feeling, right? Am I feeling tension in my stomach, or do I feel heavy? Do I feel light? Am I guarded? These are some of the things you can get an idea of what's happening emotionally. If the emotion is constrictive, right? It could be lower on the scale. If you're more expansive, right, it's higher up on the scale. And then you can look at, this scale, right, this emotional guidance scale, if you're not sure, and try to figure out, like, which one of these feel closest to what I'm experiencing, even if it's not something that's exact. You can sit there and you can say, you know what, I'm feeling a certain type of way about, what my boss said to me at work. What do you feel? Do you feel like it's blame? Do you feel like, it's worry? Maybe I'm not going to have a job tomorrow? Am I discouraged? Do I feel, anger? Like, you got to work through those emotions to try to get exactly where you are. Or maybe it's not even anger. Maybe you're just feeling irritated, right? But even an an approximate guess could raise your awareness to what you're feeling. And then, get a journal and start journaling some of this stuff down, and, without any judgment, like right now I feel like whatever, or I wish I could do whatever, or I'm scared that such and such will happen. You will fill in the blanks, right? You start writing, you'll fill in something, right? And then when you're in your meditation, or, in your stillness, or in your prayer closet, or wherever you're going to go, you can say, hey, God, what am I truly feeling? What's underneath this feeling? I don't know what I'm feeling. I think I feel like I'm overwhelmed. Maybe I feel a little ashamed that I've let my boss down, or whatever. There isn't any wrong answer. You can feel a bunch of different emotions at the same time. It's possible. But you got to start somewhere. So if this has resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this moment of reflection too. And if you want to be part of the conversation, send in your voice note, and your story might be the next one we sit together on. So until then, stay grounded, stay open, stay sacred, and sip slow.